Okay, guys, that was Bethany. If you have, oh, by the way, I have to say credits to Bywig Hello Drama for that little piece of audio on Instagram. So that's the content creator person who posted it. So I have to say, guys, if you have listened to my podcast last week, I do talk about this. And although I would like to act like I'm so surprised, I'm not. Totally expected. I was expecting this from Bethenny. After watching the interview last week, you guys know how I feel about the whole thing. At first, I was happy to see them reunite. But then, when I was listening to the interview, it felt like Bethenny really wanted to be right and was interrupting Jill quite a bit during that interview. And, she was trying to direct the conversation, and it felt really like produced. Like it's almost like Bethenny was being like a producer of her own reality and her own truth, or however she wanted the truth to appear to the public, right? So I can't say that I'm surprised, even on YouTube, I've been seeing she has released clips of everything that took place prior to them starting to tape the podcast. And it's like this grand, it's like a grand event, right? She sends a car for Jill and Jill is in the car. And then it's like this big movie production, like for this reunion that we're supposed to see. I know some people might just be like, oh, why are you being so negative when it comes to this? Like, that's just my opinion, guys, right? Because I tend to believe that when you really have a deep conversation that you need to have with a friend or someone that you valued at some point in time, at some point in time, like 13 years ago, let's say, right? There's a part of me that felt like maybe that conversation should have happened privately, maybe not just with like millions of people listening, right? And, I'm not going to lie, I'm happy that I was able to listen to the conversation. But I'm just saying that, just think about yourself, right? If you have something that you need to hash out with a friend, you're not going to do it with like the peanut gallery or like, you're not going to do it with like a whole bunch of people. You're going to do that privately, But it was this big production, and it felt very produced. And now that she's releasing like little bits and pieces of, the gift bags, and she has her waiting for her, like she's treating like Jill like this very important guest, right? And it's like, it feels more like something that you would see in a movie than in reality. Because if I'm calling you over at my house to talk about the past or to hash things out, I'm not just going to have you wait for me in a separate room or in a separate house while I'm like talking to other people and be like, okay, what's her reaction about this? And what's her reaction about that? And is she happy? Does she love the house? Like, you know what I mean? It just feels very produced. It's almost as if like Bethenny is auditioning like for her own reality TV show or YouTube series. I don't know if that's the direction where she's going, and if that's what she's doing, that's fine. I'm not against it, but I'm just saying like it doesn't need to be at other people's expense, because to me, and I said that last week, I felt like Jill's approach to the meeting felt more genuine to me than it did for Bethenny. I felt like Jill appeared to be sincere in her answers, that she really was kind of like waiting for an opportunity to finally speak one-on-one with Bethenny. And it might not just like, it might have never been what Bethenny really wanted. Like, I feel like there's a person online, I've seen a comment, someone said, maybe it has to do with that whole New York revamp, with the new ladies, the new cast members. It's like a fresh cast, young cast. There's none of the OGs in that franchise right now. So maybe Bethenny was looking for an opportunity to just capitalize on that and just expose her show even more. And it's like publicity for herself. And that could have been done at Jill's expense, right? Because now she's releasing that statement and she's saying that, I've been a wreck all week. And mind you, like that was kind of like, I guess before she met up with Jill. But nevertheless, she had those fears and concerns. She was just like, I'm not necessarily looking to have a friendship with her. I'm not necessarily looking to have my name in all the tabloids, or like for Jill to like, smear me, or like kind of like tell my secrets and all of this. I just want us to be like kind of like cool, like we have no beef and that's fine, right? So it's like at the end of the day, if that's all you wanted to really achieve from that, I felt like they were already there. Like I'm pretty sure that if without that meeting, without that podcast, if Jill ran into Bethenny, it would have just been like, hi, Bethenny, how are you? How are you doing? How's Bren? And how's life? Okay, wishing you well. See you later. Like, I don't feel like there's this animosity between them anymore. So if that was the goal, then the podcast was not necessary, because I felt like they were already there. Now it's starting to look more like a media circus, and it's like, who does that? It's like, Bethenny, some aspects of your life, some of them, yes, for the public, but some of them you have to keep to yourself. You know what I mean? Not everything that you think you need to say. And I just can't help to wonder how Jill feels about that now, now that she's releasing these little clips and saying, oh, I'm not really looking for like a friendship with her, right? And it kind of makes the whole thing about the funeral even more questionable, because like I said, I felt like, Jill was maybe truthful in her approach to, when she met with Bethenny. But Bethenny was like, oh, that's disgusting. I did not know this. I did not know that. I'm sure to certain, like maybe some aspects of it she did not know. But I think Bethenny was maybe acting for the camera a little bit. Like, I don't know, guys. That's my opinion. Like, I know the Bethenny fans are not really going to be happy with me for saying that. But that's what I'm feeling when it comes to this. Because if you guys recall, even Carol, Carol and Bethenny used to be very close. And there's a lot of that they did not necessarily show on the show when Carol was there. But I remember Carol, who's usually very calm and composed and kind of just like easy to get along with. That season, she was just not having it with Bethenny. Like you could tell that there was something going on that she could not necessarily like talk about, or maybe production were not allowing her to break the fourth wall. And that probably stems from the fact that, Carol said that Bethenny used to have access to a group chat that only producers and executives had access to. So basically, Bethenny was on that group chat and she was aware of everything that had taken place in every scene. So whenever she would walk into a scene, they would have leaked that information to her because she was on that group text. So she would know what somebody said, what somebody did, and she knew exactly how to manipulate it or like to her own advantage. So obviously, if you're a cast member, you wouldn't think that that's very fair, and understandably. So I don't know. I don't know how much of Bethenny is real anymore.